All right, so we're back to the mimer of Chaviv Adam and Tafshin Beit, 1942, which was said by the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. And we're right at the very end. But tzarichem, you have to learn lilmod b'kol halacha b'chalacha, even every law, hapanim shabo, which is the inside of it. So if you learn a law, let's say in Kiddushin, a man in order to marry a woman, so he says he has to give her something. So you can say that's the simple meaning. The deeper meaning is the man is God, the woman is Hashem. The thing that God has given is the Torah. And then from that you can say every detail that's written in the inside of the Torah, that's written in the outside of the Torah, the revealed Torah, is also in the inside of the Torah. Secrets of the Torah. Okay, Urshel. The Tam Davar, and the reason is Ki lekach tov, because this good food, which is the revealed Torah, the Talmud, natati lachem, I gave it to you, b'seichel anushi, that the Torah is supposed to be understood by human understanding. Umitzad zeh, because of this, hari yochel liot, there could be kamakushios, a lot of questions, God forbid, on the Torah. If God gave us this Torah, and then why are there such simple laws over here about if somebody loses something or somebody damages somebody else? Let this. Every country has their monetary laws, has their legal system. Why does God have to get involved in all these little picayune details? Right now we're learning in the Rambam about inheritances and business deals and partnerships. What does God have to get into partnerships for? Right? One partner says he's going to go and buy a certain product, and he goes and he buys a different product, right? And it's worth more. Does he have to pay the person back? What does God care about these things? Let the government figure this out. He says no. Every detail of the world and every law in the Torah is godly. Fa'al hanagaso shel HaKodesh Baruch Hu. I'm sorry. A person can ask questions about the Torah and about God. V'yochalim liyot kama mini fofanim toyos. And people can make a lot of questions. Like the rabbis say, Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachmani, in the name of Rabbi Yonasan, Omar b'shat shaya Moshe kotev the Torah. When Moses was writing the Torah, he was on Mount Sinai for 40 days. V'hoya kotev, and he wrote, Masa kol yom v'yom. He wrote down what God did every day in creation. Kivin she'yagir lapasuk hazeh, since he came to this sentence, Vayomer Elokim na'aseh adam b'tzalmenu, God said, let us make man in our image and in our appearance. Omar, Moses said to God, Ribono shel olamim, God, hey, don't write that in the Torah. What are you writing over here? Let us make Adam. It seems that there's a lot of gods, and they're all working together, and they're making. That's what the idolaters say. There's a lot of gods, the Hindus and these people. That's what they say. Take that out. Ma ta noten pitchon peh laminim. Why are you encouraging the apostates, people to say that there's a lot of gods? Lomer shtei reshuyoten. Maybe they'll say there's a lot of gods. A lot of gods. It says, Na'aseh, let us make man. Let us make man. In our image. Yeah, that's not nice. It should, you know the story about Talmi Melech? You ever heard the story about Talmi Melech? Have you ever heard the story? Talmi Melech was a great king, a great Greek king. The Greeks were very philosophical people. Very cultured people. And Talmi Melech, he took 72 wise men and locked them up in different rooms. And he said to each one of them, translate the Torah into Greek. He ruled over, I guess he must have ruled over the whole world. And because for sure he ruled over these men. He put them into rooms, said, translate the Torah into Greek. So they all translated the Torah and they changed 10 things. Each one of them independently, 72 of them, independently each one made 10 changes. The first one was, instead of saying, in the beginning, God created the world, it seems to be what saying, Bereshit bara Elokim, that the beginning created God. The beginning created God. But that's what the Greeks say. There was always something. There was always a form, a matter, an energy, an ether or something. And that eventually, like the Big Bang Theory, everything was sort of static, and then everything sort of came together somehow or other, and then it blew up, and that's what made the world. So that blowing up, that made all the laws of nature. So that's what it seems to be supported by the Torah. In the beginning created God. The beginning created all these forces. So they changed it. Instead of in the beginning created God, they wrote Elokim bara bereshis. God created the beginning. Here's another change they made. It says, let us make man, just one second. In the Torah it says, God said, let us make man in our image and our likeness. What does it mean our? God made man in his image. What does it mean our? What's plural? So it says that Moses said to God, that's another one of the things that they changed. But why did God leave it that way? Why did he write? Moses said to God, don't put this in. I mean, it's going to just encourage the evil people to go against the Torah, to say that there's a lot of gods. What did God answer him back? Omer lei, God said back to him, Katuv, write, v'harotze lit'ot yit'eh. Anyone who wants to make mistakes will make mistakes. So therefore, the Torah is written in such a way that you can make mistakes, that you can think that there is no God.
But God is only one. I think I know. I could probably answer this. Like, God doesn't come down the world and run the world himself. Maybe the reason why he said we created man in my image is because God probably did it through the angels. But when he created the world, he did it himself. He created it with his speech and his form.
Good, okay, that's what we believe. But there's other people that don't believe like that. And what it says in the Torah seems to support the other opinion, that God said, let us make man.
Or maybe God got a black hole and just did the Big Bang. God probably
okay, we don't say that though.
Hole,
everything is possible, but that's not what, at least that's not what the Rebbe says. The Rebbe doesn't explain it that way. That God personally created everything from nothing.
But there was a vacating space from God.
No, that's different. That's not, no. There was no, God forbid, there was no such thing. There was, we'll talk about that later. That's called the Tzimtzum, and we're not talking about that now. We'll talk about that another time. But there was never, it doesn't make any sense.
There's no safe place from God. This doesn't make sense.
Not a safe place. Okay.
There's no such thing.
We'll talk about that later, but that's not the point now.
Let's keep learning.
Okay. Oh, well, now in the future, you'll have a pen. We'll go slower because we're just finishing this mimer up. So, what? No. We're finishing this one up. We'll start the next mimer. And then we'll go slower, and you can write down the words if you want. Okay, so now what's the Rebbe saying? God wrote the Torah in such a way that people can make mistakes, and people can think there is no God, or that there's two gods. You make mistakes, and there were big tzaddikim that did so. You've heard the stories, right? Yerovam ben Navat, Elisha ben Avua. These people were tremendous geniuses. They knew the whole Torah. They knew all the secrets of the Torah. They knew everything. And they went against the Torah. They were kings of Israel, kings of Yehuda, right? Menashe, the people that went against God. They were of tremendous high level. So says the Rebbe, therefore, you have to learn the inside of the Torah and constantly remember that you are a creation, that you belong to God, and not that God belongs to you, that you belong to the Torah and the Torah doesn't belong to you. How do you have that? By learning the ideas of the inside of the Torah. By learning a little bit about what's called the 10 Sfirot, the inner ideas, the godliness which is in the Torah. Avokasher nosef al lekach tov, the gali of the Torah. But when a person adds, the first word in line is al. It's 4 lines from the bottom of the page. When a person adds to the lekach tov, the gali of the Torah, of this good bread, which is the revealed Torah, the Talmud, etc. Hine, in addition to that, hu lomed gam panimiyat Torah, he learns some ideas of the inside of the Torah, the godliness of the Torah. Az lo yachshelo, then he won't have any questions. Al hanagaso shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, on what God does. He'll have more of a feeling of the infiniteness of God. V'lo yiplu etzlo shum inyani ta'ot. And then there will not be any mistakes. Because he'll always remember that God is the boss, not him. V'zeu torati al tazovo. That's what it means. That's what it means. It's my Torah. Don't leave it. Shall osik b'torati. That a person who learns the Torah, who yodea, he knows the al tazova, that it's impossible to leave the Torah, and God will never leave us. The ein Yisrael nazavim chas v'shalom. God will never leave us. Now you have to remember when the previous Rebbe was saying these words. This was in 1942, and the previous Rebbe knew what was going on in Europe, and that the Jews were being massacred, and people wouldn't listen to him, and people wouldn't listen to others also, that he wasn't alone. He said, don't worry about it. We're going through terrible times, but God will never leave us. Elohim mushkachim, but the Jewish people are being protected and observed. I just want to say directed from God. B'kol makom b'kol zman, every place and every time. B'ashgacha prati pratiot, in details, and the smallest details are all being watched by God. So again, what does the Rebbe want from this? First of all, to tell us that God loves all the non-Jews. Number two, to tell us that the way that God loves the Jews is in a totally different and deeper way. Number one, the Jewish people have a different intellect that they can actually perceive, and it bothers them, the infiniteness of God. Number two, that the Jewish people have a godly soul. Number three, the Jewish people have a Jewish body, which is even higher than the godly soul. Number four, the Jewish people have the Torah, the external Torah, the Talmud, the halal, laws, etc. And after all that, the Jews were given the special gift, which is called the inside of the Torah, the godliness of the Torah, the secrets of the Torah. And this is what keeps a Jew always aware of his responsibility to God and to himself and to the world. And by means of that, a person will not fall, and he won't think that God has left him, and he won't leave the Creator. That's how the Rebbe explains this Mishnah. We need Mashiach now.